And now moving my family from the United States to the Netherlands had to be one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, but definitely the best decision I've ever made. And not for nothing, if I had to do it all over again, pimping, I would, but I would do it just a little different. And I had to pull up and make this video because this was actually a comment left by a member, and I gotta pull up for the members. These tips are mainly coming from my personal experience moving from America to the Netherlands. And with that said, I do have to say that pimping, I am not a lawyer. These are just some things and some tips that I would look out for if I were moving. This coming from my personal experience. And now if you would like some type of guide or something like that in the future, pimping, let me know. I might hook it up. First tip that I would have is to make sure to have some kind of savings. Now it doesn't matter where you go. I have noticed, based off of the research that I've done before we moved here, what I've noticed is no matter what, you need some money in the bank. And I think the reason for this is to pretty much just show that you're not gonna be a burden on whatever the society you decide to be a part of. And now the amount may vary depending on where you're going, but again, you gotta have some kind of savings. And now for me personally, I didn't have a hard time when it came to the money, only because my wife and I were saving up for a house. And it was a house that we just weren't gonna get because we just constantly kept getting priced out. Which brings me to another point, and that is also make sure that your debt is very low. I would avoid any consumer debt. Get all of that consumer debt paid off. We moved here 4.5 years ago now, and we did not have any consumer debt. Credit cards, car payments, nothing. We have nothing like that. And now this is kind of up to you, but me personally, I would make sure if I had to leave next month, I would make sure that I didn't have no consumer debt and some money in the bank. Now, while you are going ahead and saving some money and getting all this consumer debt out of the way, my next tip would have to be figure out where you want to live, pimping. Like for real, that's a big one. And it's kind of an important one. And I would highly recommend it being a place that you visited or you plan on visiting before you move. My wife and I, before we actually moved to the Netherlands, we've gone to every place that we wanted that was on our list. We've been there multiple times throughout the year, to the point where we ended up just making lists of places that we could actually see ourselves living. And obviously though too, each place that we had on the list were different. Like they were all different. And also too, when picking a place, try not to pick a place that you've only been to for vacation. And I mean vacation like basically you were just in a bubble when you went. For example, some people say they want to move to Mexico, but then they'll be like, oh yeah, I've been there a couple of times and I stayed in Cancun, for example. And it's like, pimping, like, that's cool and all, but you're not really getting the full experience of how it would be to actually live there. And if I'm keeping it 1,000, you're pretty much just in a bubble. Especially if you're just going to places, staying in resorts. No, pimp, no. Now luckily for me and my wife, this was something that we actually were really good at, because when we went places, we would actually go and live like the locals. We stayed in neighborhoods, and that's how we were able to find some of the best areas and honestly got the experience of what it would be like to actually live here. Like for real, we just basically stayed and lived like the locals. I mean, we took it so seriously too. I mean, we literally went to all the local grocery stores that were in the town. We would also go to local bars, local parks. I would do my runs in the morning at these places. Like, we were that serious about moving. Let's just say you did pick a place or you have a place in mind. The next thing I would see is what your lifestyle requirements are. For example, one of the biggest lifestyle requirements for me and my wife was that we did not have to drive everywhere. That was a big one for me. We also wanted someplace family friendly, which kind of took out places like Thailand, for example, because Thailand also has a whole, I think they have burning months, and it's just not good air quality, and that air quality could be harmful for our family and our kids. So yeah, we like Thailand, but no, it wasn't for us because of the burning season. Ireland was another place on the list. Matter of fact, Ireland was at the top, but you had to have a car. So again, I will say, make sure the place suits your lifestyle. The Netherlands was perfect for us. I mean, didn't need a car. You could walk, you could bike, and you could take public transportation, which is amazing. Haarlem was like 15 minutes away from Amsterdam, just in case we had jobs in Amsterdam, because all the work is in Amsterdam. So yeah, the Netherlands was pretty much perfect for us because we did not need a car. Also, something else you might want to consider is the weather. Like, we do have some pretty gray days, and you can get all 3 seasons in one day sometimes. So that's also something to consider with your lifestyle. Is that tolerable for you? Do you mind like being outside or hugging the block when it's like raining, then snowing, and then it's sunny? And for me and my wife, this actually wasn't a big deal at all. I mean, she's from Detroit, I'm from Chicago. Pimpin', I don't even have to say anything else after that. Like, the weather is so extreme over there in these places. Like, you will get a lot of dark days in Detroit and in Chicago. And the weather's usually worse. So yeah, that is something else to consider, is what lifestyle are you looking for? I will say, I have heard from a lot of Americans that they are tired of driving. So I kind of get that. I'm not even gonna lie. Needing a car blows my mind now. And now the next thing I would have to say is to consider the visa options at the place that you're trying to go. Now, what I mean by that is usually certain countries will have certain relationships with, like with America, for example, like the Netherlands and America. They have the Dutch-American Friendship Treaty, which basically allows you to come set up shop as long as you are literally making sure you're paying your taxes and you have some money in the bank. You are Gucci. Oh, as well as, like, obviously doing your business. But yeah, for the most part, it's a fairly easy visa to get. Thailand also has like a really interesting visa option, which is the digital nomad visa. Japan has a pretty good visa option too, but not for Americans. It's more for Australians, where basically you can go there and pretty much work. I don't remember exactly, but you could just go there, get a job, and just work. But this is something that you're gonna have to look into. You're gonna have to do your research, or like maybe even hire like a lawyer. And also with that, try to figure out if you're actually moving or you're gonna be an expat. And now, in my personal opinion, pimpin', being an expat is different from immigrating somewhere. Immigrating is more long-term. You're gonna be there for a long, long time. You're gonna contribute to society. You're gonna be a good citizen. You're gonna pay your taxes. You going the whole 9 yards. Versus being an expat is more, you're just kind of country hopping. And for me and my wife, we were not interested in country hopping. I'm just super saying, even without kids, we were just not interested in it at all. We wanted to be somewhere, lay roots down, and kind of build up our lives there. Look, we did our nickel. We ain't going back. We doing everything legit. Ain't nobody trying to get deported back to America. I'm just super saying. Quick side note, would y'all park like this? Where you like right on the edge of the water? Now, pimpin', ain't nothing wrong with being an expat. If you want to be an expat, cool. If you want to be a digital nomad, cool, because they're basically kind of expats too as well. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. No, nice to meet you. And now the next thing that I would do if I was leaving like next week or tomorrow would be to learn the language as quickly as possible. Like, pimpin', I cannot stress this enough. I wish that I learned more of the language, and I was taking it seriously, but I wish I would have learned more of the language before we moved here. And the only reason I say that is because I noticed that every time I try to speak Dutch to other people, they switch to English, and then with my confidence level being kind of mid, I go ahead and just switch to English. But you know what? No more, pimpin'. I put my foot down last week. Trying to be Dutch with somebody, someone switched to English, I was like, nee, we speak Dutch. Spreek Nederlands. But no, seriously, definitely learn the language. No matter where you're going, Thailand, Japan, Brazil, no matter where you're trying to go, it is extremely important to learn the language. It goes so far in your journey, as well as it helps you understand the culture a lot better. I think that this is a really important one. So do your best, like try your best to learn as much of the language as possible, and be firm on your boundaries. Like, if they try to speak English, nope. Because man, I notice what happens is if you don't, like, you just won't learn more of the language. Like, you'll get kind of comfortable not knowing more of the language. And that's, to me, that's not a good way to go. I would literally either take a class or just use an app. Anything is better than not doing nothing and just going, hoping for the best. Like, just do your best to learn the language. Something else that I just recently thought about is pets. Now, pimping, I have no advice for pets. I'm gonna be real. I remember, like, when we were looking into moving just like years and years ago, before we moved to the Netherlands, we were looking to move, just leaving the States, and most countries have very strict rules when bringing pets. So I can't help you. I would leave the pet. I'm sorry. I hear it can be really expensive and very problematic. So yeah, I got nothing. Actually, you know what? That's a lie. I do got this chocolate. Pimp, go ahead and get down that chocolate. They put it in a little cup and everything for me. Look at this chocolate. Look at this. Yo, look at that. Go ahead, get down on that chocolate. Go ahead. Go ahead. Okay, quick side note, we did make it over to the Windmill Adrian. But yeah, this is actually one of my favorite spots to come to. You can go all the way up there too as well. We ain't doing that today because I got work to do. Next time, pimping, next time. And also too, since this is around the time that people are finishing up school and graduating, you will see this. Oh, there it is right there. Right there. You'll see the flag with the book bag hanging. That means that they made it. They did it. They went the distance and they done with school. And now something else to think about too is the problem areas. Now, every country has some kind of problem area. And I'm mainly talking about when immigrating. For example, when we came to the Netherlands, the problem area that we ran into hard was getting our BSNs. And now lucky for us, we figured this out before we actually left. But the reason this was a problem area was because it was very contradicting of like how to do it. Like basically, to get a BSN, you needed a bank account. But to have a bank account, you needed an address. But to actually get the address, you needed a bank account. So it was like a big loop. And what's funny is when you think about it, it makes total sense because it's the same in the States. It's exactly the same. The only difference is you already have a place, like you already have an address. Your address is literally your parents' address, and you're already born with a tax ID number. But seriously though, look for the problem areas. There's always at least one. Look for it and see what it is. Now, the way we got around that whole BSN thing, and now if people don't know, BSN is basically your social security number. That way they can basically, you can pay taxes and do your due diligence and get health insurance, all that stuff. Like, you need your BSN for that. And the way we actually got around it, because it was so like, we just kept running in circles with it, the way we got around it was we were allowed to basically put extra money down on the place that we were renting, like, which was actually right up here. But yeah, we were allowed to put like a larger deposit down for the apartment that we were renting at up here, and they would basically lease us the apartment. That way we can have the address to use for our BSN. And then when it came to the bank account, we just used Bunk. And we was actually able to set that up while we were in the States. We contacted somebody, as well as we used the VPN to the Netherlands, and we were able to make a bank account. And now after we set up our bank account, we then transferred money to our bank account using Wise, and then from there was able to pay for the deposit, which allowed us to have the address to get our BSNs. And now, to be honest, this problem area could be actually like one of the most important things that you'll need to get done, meaning without this, you probably can't do the move legally. And this problem area usually also kind of varies because, for example, moving to the Netherlands, there was one hiccup that we had to do, but it turned out not to be that bad. It was just getting our birth certificates, apostille, meaning you had to get them legally stamped at like the state that you were born in. Luckily for me, we were already passing through Chicago anyway to go to Michigan, and it just worked out. They'll do it right on the fly, and we were Gucci. Which is something else, like make sure you got all your legal documents in order. I know I didn't make that one of them, but trust me, make sure they're in order. Also too, something that I would make sure I did was look into healthcare. No matter where you're going, look how it works, because some Asian countries, for example, don't have good social services or social services at all. Also too, a lot of places do not have free healthcare, the Netherlands being one of them. We just pay a monthly fee. Now, it's significantly cheaper than in the States, and you won't get any random bills in the mail, but it is not free. I've just got to super say that. And then something else I would do too as well is actually get health insurance, and I would get that on my own. It's actually not too bad to get international health insurance. Just get international health insurance. Make sure wherever you're going, it is covered by that international health insurance. Get it just in case it takes some time. We did it, and I would do that again because you just never know. And we were moving with our son. He was about, I think he was 1. So yeah, we were moving with him, and you just don't know what's gonna happen. So I would definitely get health insurance before coming here or going wherever you're trying to go. Just make sure it is accepted in the country that you are moving to. And yeah, pimping with that, I would go ahead and dip the savings, understanding what lifestyle I wanted, knowing the place I wanted to live, health insurance, learning the language. With all of that settled, I would be ready to go. Those are the things that I would do if I had to leave. Like if I had to do it all over again, but I had to do it in a short amount of time, I would do all of that stuff. So with those things in mind, go ahead and check out this video right over there for me. Go ahead. Go ahead.